p.m. for a group photo with your crew. Make way anytime after 7 p.m. to participate in pubs in downtown Anchorage with your treasure map to win 18,000 air miles and more.
Well, yeah. I mean, everybody has to sign in themselves.
For more details and discounts on hotel stay, costumes, and parking at Easy Park lots for the night.
Yo ho, me hearties.
We best be seeing your scallywags at the Pirate Pub Crawl on September 20th.
Brought to you by the Anchorage Downtown Pirates, Teenage Graphics, Blood Bank of Alaska, the Odom Corporation, Casinos and Rentals, and Alaska Integrated Media.
Is it already time for your kindergartner to start reading, writing, and arithmetic? Would you like them to also learn science, history, and geography? Let's mix in the fun of music, and learning through play. Anchor Lutheran School offers this and much more in a class of no more than 22 students. Kindergarten through junior high enrolling now. Anchor Lutheran School on Arctic Boulevard, just north of Diamond. Visit alsalaska.org or call 522-3636 to learn more.
Why is A&A The Shop Alaska's independent Subaru specialist? How is it they've been voted the best shop in Anchorage not once but 6 times? Well, in the business. If they work on your Subaru, you're going to get a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on both parts and labor. That's unheard of. A&A The Shop deals exclusively with Subarus, and they also offer $35 oil changes. All their technicians are ASE certified. Call A&A The Shop for an appointment. 562-3919 in Anchorage and 696-2096 in Eagle River.
When Malarkey Mark Begich ran for U.S. Senator, he made a lot of claims about his record as Anchorage mayor. Begich knew the truth wouldn't come to light before the election. But now, history has caught up with Malarkey Mark. Under Begich, Anchorage taxes went up 27%. Under Begich, the city budget ballooned, a $142 million increase in spending. Under Begich, the city was saddled with unprecedented 5-year union contracts. Under Begich, a deficit of over $20 million was left for the next mayor to deal with. Begich left Anchorage in serious trouble. Alaska's Energy, America's Values paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. It's time to replace Malarkey Mark with U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. EnergyandValues.com.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call, 569-1080. KOAN.
All right, welcome back to the Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie show. 7:06 is the time on this, the 17th day of the month of September. Our good friend Mike Daniels, boy, you know he's got to feel good about what he does, he and his team at Country Financial. When you get to your retirement years, you know, you work so hard, you play by the rules, you try to do what's best for yourself, your family, your kids, your grandkids. And most people, I think, in America, and this is one of the reasons our country's so great, at least the people, not the politicians, is we plan to make a better way for the next generation. And Mike Daniels and his team at Country Financial, that's what they do. They help you make the right decisions with your money to where that you're going to have a really nice nest egg when you retire. And not only will you live a worry-free retirement life, but you'll also pass something on to your children and your grandchildren. And that's really what Americans are all about, isn't it? Country Financial, they have a great, heavy presence here in Alaska. There are 13 different locations, 5 in Anchorage, 5 in the Valley. Go see a country representative. Country Financial, they're number 866-COUNTRY, 866-COUNTRY, and country spelled
COUNTRY.
All right, our number 569-1080, 569-1080. You're listening to Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron on KOAN, KVNT. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you this morning. 569-1080. Steve, you're on. Hello, Steve.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good morning, guys.
Morning.
Yeah, I'm a proud member in good standing of the Anybody But Baggage Coalition.
Yes, sir.
And it did occur to me that maybe Sullivan's got a good idea here with trying to appeal to some of the dumb vote.
Okay.
And I'm sure he thinks it's a dumb idea,
hope.
the minimum wage. But,
I would hope.
But I think maybe he's reaching out a little bit, and not a bad thing.
You think that the polls on it are pretty accurate? 58-33. 1/3 of people in Alaska want there not to be a $10 an hour minimum wage.
Yeah, I think that's there's a lot of uninformed voters out there that will see maybe Sullivan is reaching out to them and it will appeal to them and anything and it also takes away an argument that Baggage might have with him. So
does it cost him anything?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think that our coalition is pretty strong, the anti-baggage group.
If he switches on any of the other propositions and you start to hear a drum beat of switching positions, do you think that could damage him?
Yeah, that could. I mean, if he gets like an endorsement from Palin or something, that could be bad.
No, Palin's not going to endorse him, that's for sure.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
You think she'll endorse Walker?
She might.
I thought she already did kind of on Bob and Mark, but was that before?
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm sure Walker's thinking, no.
Yeah, no.
Please.
All right, well, that was just my thought on it.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that.
Bye.
So a friend of mine pointed out yesterday about minimum wage. When you hike it, it really hurts the person because it can make them go up into a higher income tax bracket. I hadn't thought of that before.
No, nobody.
You don't think so?
Nobody making anywhere near minimum wage pays any taxes. Only 50% of Americans pay federal income tax.
Even at 9-something an hour?
15, 20, 25 an hour probably.
It probably depends on how many kids you have.
You got to make a ton of money to pay taxes in this country. Yeah, and if you got kids, if you got 4 kids, you probably got to make. I don't know how much you got to make, but it would be just a ridiculous amount of money. Very few people contribute to the federal income tax. That's why it is so absurd when the left says, people need to pay their fair share. When the wealthiest Americans, the top 2%, are paying like 30% of the whole share.
Yeah.
It's just. So no, that's not a consideration. What the minimum wage does, it hurts the minimum wage employee because they're less likely to get a job.
And the consumer.
But mostly it affects the business owner. Small business owners. People have like Doriella's cafe over here on Tudor. She's probably got 12 employees. You hike up their wage $3 an hour. She's just not making that. There's just not enough room in there for her to be able to absorb that in her profits. And so she's going to either have to lay people off, raise her prices. But you raise your prices, then you're going to lose customers. And so there's just nowhere for the business owner to go, other than try to figure out some way to be more efficient. Maybe automate, use technology to replace your employers.
And I think we're really coming close to, I saw a burger creation machine, like a little automated burger making machine, could make 360 burgers an hour to your specifications. You wanted 2/3 bison and 1/3 bacon, it would make that burger for you.
Wow.
And we'll fry it up and put
that's a burger
lettuce
bot.
on it. Yeah, it's a burger bot. It makes 360 an hour, and it takes up 24 square feet. I mean, here's the thing. Maybe it's not going to be in Anchorage, but what if you put one of these out in Bush, Alaska, and instead of having to spend, I think in, Kotzebue, they just started up a city-run burger shop. Can you imagine, by the way, being in a regular burger shop and all of a sudden the city opens up a burger shop?
Oh, my goodness.
Well, they've frozen you out. You're not going to be able to compete against them, right? But, I mean, what if you started up, and rather than having to go spend $12-15 for a burger, here you can get a burger for $4, Yeah, a really nice gourmet burger for $4 from this machine. And you'd say, well, that's just not going to happen. I promise you. if there was a difference of $4 for one burger and $5 for another, a certain percentage of people are going to do it day one.
Yeah.
A larger percentage of people are going to do it day 2, and a larger on day 10, and a huge percentage. And by the time you're a year in, and there's an automatic burger flipping place, and their food costs I'm not even talking half as much, any significant percentage less, you're just going to do it.
Well, the necessity is the mother of invention. So this has small business owners trying to think of better ways to operate without people.
Right.
Yeah.
It's pushing them.
If you raise the cost of an employee who half the time does not know how to show up to work because this is their first job.
Yeah, it's pushing them away from manual workers.
Yeah, and then you don't have to worry about hair in your food or fingernails. It's just grease.
Yeah. This is literally what, but everything the left proposes is to transfer wealth from the private sector to the government sector.
Mm-hmm.
So these minimum wage employees who would no longer be employed will now have to depend on the government. And you know what? They won't actually lose much on that because the benefit package for people right now is so
very nice. They lose dignity and they lose their humanity.
And
that's
it's huge. Yeah, but financially, not much. 714, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie, KOAN, KVNT.
Don't just sit there. Give them a call. 569-1080. Join the conversation. KOAN.
Is your IT department burdened with first-line support calls about printer jams and broken printers? Are individual departments purchasing expensive printer cartridges that get buried in office supply budgets? Is your printer support strategy real printer replacement plan? Let Alaska Enterprise Solutions show you how to reduce those high print costs. AES is a Xerox professional agency in Alaska with Xerox's worldwide support behind them. You can reach us at aesalaska.com or 561-5100.
Mark Begich has voted with Barack Obama 97% of the time. Now, to distract you from the truth, Begich is falsely attacking Dan Sullivan with ads fact-checkers have called inflammatory and inaccurate. Shamefully, Begich has even resorted to attacking Dan Sullivan's service to our country. Mark Begich isn't true Alaska. He's pure Washington.
I'm Julie Fates Sullivan. After 9/11, my family left our home in Alaska so my husband, Dan Sullivan, could defend our country, first in the White House under Condoleezza Rice, then deploying overseas as a U.S. Marine. Now Mark Begich is attacking Dan for that service. As somebody whose family has been in Alaska for thousands of years, I have a message from Mark Begich. Alaskans respect military service. We don't attack it.
I'm Dan Sullivan. I'm running for the U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sullivan for U.S. Senate.
The first time you saw a laser level, you were probably a little suspect. Now you wonder how you did without it. At a Red Wing shoe store, we use the latest tools to give you the best fit, like a digital measuring device that not only scans the length and width of your feet, but even gauges pressure points and arch height. And Red Wing offers a 30-day comfort guarantee. It's all part of making sure your boots do their job so you can do yours. Red Wing Shoes. Work is our work.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080KOAN.com.
$7:17 in the morning. Here it is, a Wednesday morning hump day. The 17th day of September 2014. Bonnie Cameron is sitting here in the studio with us, Glen Biegel. We've got Joe Bailash coming up. He's the pipeline guy. He's going to talk to us about this pipeline controversy. And obviously, that's always been Bill Walker's number one issue, that he's the guy who can get us the pipeline by forcing the oil companies to invest billions of dollars against their will. And then, I think Governor Parnell has brought us closer to getting a pipeline in conjunction with Dan Sullivan as DNR commissioner than any other governor in the past. But that's a big piece of controversy right now in the governor's race. How do you see it, Glenn?
Well, I think it's the most important issue. I think it's the one that most people will probably, for the people whose vote is up for grabs, it's what they're going to cast their vote based on. I think I wrote a piece today that I thought the governor had to make his case. He's got to show us that this is real. I do question Walker because he told me that if he went out and got contracts from KOGAS and Korean Gas and Mitsubishi and other places, that those contracts would fund the pipeline. And I don't think that's true. I'm still waiting for him to come on because if that piece of information is not correct.
Well, I think Baylash will confirm that.
Okay, good. Yeah. So maybe he can answer that. But that's really troubling to me. To be first yes on one.
Didn't you research?
I did, and the longest contract I could ever find was 15 years. And you know, we're not going to have a gas pipeline for 10 years. So even a 15-year contract, it's just not done that way. The people who are going to produce the gas, or a government, you know, I don't know, not a government. I'm trying to remember.
Well, Walker's plan is to have the state own 51% of the pipeline.
And we would, of the pipeline or of the production facilities and all that kind of stuff. Because even under Parnell, we're thinking of owning 25%.
Yeah.
And the production facilities.
Yeah.
So
which would cost what?
I think about $18 billion.
But I thought it was
for us, for our part of it. If we were
under
in 25%, it would be around $18 billion.
So it'd be about 36.
No. It'd be if we were
under
Walker, yeah, we would be in, I guess, for 35 billion, unless he just wants to own the pipeline. I don't know.
You know, Glenn, you know me. I'm very narrow-minded on unions. I apologize, but it's true. Because there's nothing that is closer to the Soviet Union than the collective bargaining model. There's nothing that's closer to pure, full-blown communism than collective bargaining.
The idea that as hard as you want to work, you will be paid just as much as a person who was hired in the same year than you, and you will be paid much less than the person who was hired 5 years before you, regardless of how much work they actually do. That is offensive, and I don't know why anybody puts up with it.
It's actually more diabolical than that. Your ability to advance and promote yourself within your occupation really comes down to how well you know the union boss and how tight you are with him.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it comes down to. So just like in the Politburo, friends and neighbors and relatives of the Politburo in the Soviet Union always got the cush jobs, and everybody else, well, they just have to do their, just accept what they're given to. There's no advance.
When you're talking about full Soviet Union, I've never had a problem, by the way, with private sector unions. Unions who know that they're going to have to compete for these jobs, that they need to give high value, that they've got to give a lot of expertise. Those unions seem to do fairly well. What I'm talking about is public sector unions, and I know people who are in the public sector unions, help manage these public sector unions. They are literally 15 years behind the private sector on their skill set.
The private sector unions
unacceptable.
Do not do very well, Glenn. They've become obsolete almost.
Well, there aren't too many of them.
The numbers are down 75%.
Yeah, but there's a better reason for them.
Yeah.
Not the public sector. The public sector should not have a union.
But people do not want to be judged collectively.
My only point is this, that in the private sector unions, I don't know that it's who you know. Maybe it still is. I do know in the public sector unions, the problem I have with them specifically, they are not up to snuff. They do not have the same necessity as you see in the private sector to gain new skills. I have to refresh my skill set every 3-4 years. I have to learn a whole new technological skill set for me to keep my job. If I don't do that,
why does the public sector unions have the ability to keep up with it?
They're 15-20 years behind because nobody's going to fire them. You can't fire them just because they don't know the new technology.
But they get gobs and gobs of cash from the government for training facilities. Have you ever been to IBEW's training facility?
Oh, IBEW? No, I never have, but I bet it's fancy.
Very fancy because they get gobs and gobs. That's where all this voced training and all that, they all give that all to the unions, and they have these huge facilities.
Yeah.
So there's not the incentive, but they keep up with the times. I disagree with that.
No, I'm talking about public sector unions, and specifically in technology at the state level.
Okay.
They're 15-20 years behind.
Fair enough.
Those are the ones that I know
IT work.
The best.
Okay.
Yeah, where there's a real necessity in the private sector to keep up with the times.
Fair enough. But back to the unions in the pipeline. That's what terrifies me about Mr. Walker.
He wants to sign his work agreements
his
with
tongue literally drags down by his feet when he thinks about unions. Mm-hmm. He's so pro-union.
Yeah, he's totally supported by the union, and the unions are what got him and Malott to run together.
And this idea of the state being like Norway and being the sovereign, if you will, that's in charge of the oil industry means that every oil industry employee in the state will be a union worker.
Mm.
And that's the connection between Beltrami and Walker. And that would devastate us.
Mm.
So it would make us non-competitive. We would just keep raising taxes because we got to keep feeding the union bosses. Well, we see what happens when unions get involved, especially government, public sector unions. So that's my main thing with Walker. I don't really care about his ideas as far as here's my. He's all about the unions. He's all about the Norway model. The union bosses are 100% behind him, and that's what that's all about.
Yeah. Well, I was very taken back that he was giving me bad information about how these pipelines are funded, because frankly, I repeated the information quite a bit. I believed it. If it turns out not to be true, and Baylor.
Why do you say if it turns out? I thought you researched.
I have not found any example where going and signing a contract somebody who wants to buy gas.
It turns out to not be true?
Because I want it. I don't want to not believe people. I'm not an expert in this. I want an expert to tell me that's not true. Well, we will not get this pipeline funded.
I've had dozens of people tell me that about 80% of what Bill Walker says about the pipeline is not true. Dozens. Now, these are all pro-development people, but they say he just doesn't deal in truth.
Well, I want to know.
And then
on
you
this
went and
specifically.
researched the notion that the customers will take all the risk and fund everything, and you found that there's no example of that ever happening in the world.
No, there's
so
no
why do you
example
keep
of that.
saying, well, I want to, if that's not true, do you have to ask him one more time?
For me personally, I want to ask him specifically, because he told me something specifically, me as a person, me as somebody who he was dealing with, me as somebody who liked to hear what he had to say, and I want to hear his response. I want to hear it. I want to hear it from his mouth.
You know what he's going to say. He's been saying.
What's he going to say?
He's going to say that the customers will pay for everything and take all the risk.
Oh, well, then there will be
But isn't that what
fiery interchange.
Isn't that what he's been saying all along?
Well, I don't. My guess is he'll try and shade it. My guess is what he may say is, well, you didn't really understand me clearly. We can do X, Y, or Z, and maybe I just misheard him. I mean, I really want to hear what he has to say to the question. I think it's very important for me.
But it's
personally.
But he's already answered it multiple times.
He said multiple times that.
So you want to hear it one more time?
I think he's going to change his story. Is my guess.
You want to confront him with what you know now.
I want to confront him with what I believe I know.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah, and so that to me is of great interest. But yeah, the union tie between Walker and the unions. He wants us to sign work project
labor agreements.
Yeah, which essentially guarantee that all the jobs will go to union employees. Yeah. I don't have a problem.
Which, by the way, when you look at construction companies, you know what percentage of construction companies in Alaska are union?
Not very big number.
20%. So what you do with project labor agreements, which Bill Walker favors, you say to 80% of the construction industry, you can't work on this project.
Yeah, or you got to subcontract to these other guys. They're going to charge you a premium, or who knows what it is.
No,
it's terrible.
What it does is, and this is what happened with the Alaska pipeline, Trans-Alaska pipeline, it brings Oklahoma and Texas union workers up.
Right.
And it discriminates against Alaska workers. So you got, actually, I think it's 30% union construction. So you're going to have 70% of the construction industry discriminated against in favor of workers down in Oklahoma and Texas because they're union.
That would never come out. Wouldn't that be great if the Anchorage Daily News did a story on that? Do you know how much that would change? Because just one story on something like that could dramatically change politics in Alaska.
Yeah.
Because it would show that what they've always said is we're for the Alaskan worker.
No.
No, they're for the union worker. And if that came out, that'd be. Yeah.
And I don't see it coming out because, like, with the vote no and yes on one vote we just had, there was lots of money spent on advertising that got the word out. In this race, there's nothing. We don't have any kind of person or company that can get behind and really get the word out for.
By the way, I've confronted Walker on that, which I just presented to you.
And
he says, Dan, look, the reality of the situation is if any big project's going to happen in Alaska, the unions have to be involved.
Involved or in charge?
Involved, but he meant in charge, but he's smart enough not to say it.
Okay.
But because they don't want to be in, they got to be in charge.
Look, I don't care whether or not union members are involved.
Yeah.
I do not want them to be in charge. I don't
Right.
think that leads to good public policy.
Right.
I think those two things.
What's the Anti-Alaska Worker Act is what Project Labor agreements are.
Right. Anyway, so what was your original question? Something about.
Well, my
how I
point
see-
is that,
that
we talk about the gas line and who's right, Parnell Walker.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at what Walker's truly proposing, it's all about the unions. And to have this Walker Malott
AFL-CIO
is
ticket
of Vince Beltrami. Vince Beltrami's running for governor. He will be in total control.
Yeah, can you imagine them doing something which didn't please the AFL-CIO after they essentially funded this ticket? Can you imagine?
Vince Beltrami said, I'm not going to give any cash to you, Mr. Malott, or you, Mr. Walker, unless you run together. And they said, okay.
Within a week.
That's how powerful this guy is.
Baby.
And you know what? That cash that Beltrami has, the bucket loads, the truckload full of cash.
Other people's money.
Other people's money that they were forced to give because we're not a right-to-work state. It is corruption. It is legal extortion. It's sickening.
Yep.
How's that for some hopeless?
Wow, I like it. I like it.
7:29. Fagan, Biegel, Bonnie.
And now, the Fox News Business Report, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
From the Fox Business Network, stocks are trading modestly higher ahead of the Federal Reserve's announcement today. Investors will be looking for clues that might signal when the central bank will start to raise interest rates. At 11 o'clock Eastern, the Dow's up 22 points. Home builders are getting a lift today after confidence in the market for new single-family homes jumped this month to the highest level in nearly 9 years. The upbeat outlook reflects growing optimism that sales will increase over the next 6 months, leading to growth in home construction. Shares of General Mills under pressure after the maker of Cheerios and other packaged foods reported disappointing first quarter earnings. General Mills posting an adjusted profit of 61 cents a share, 8 cents below the estimate. Revenue of nearly $4.3 billion also fell short of expectations, marking the fourth straight quarterly drop. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Lauren Simonetti.
Hey guys, if you're into fantasy football, you've got to check out FanDuel.com. At FanDuel, you play in 1 week fantasy football leagues for real money with immediate cash payouts. You only play when you want, and you can change your team any week. FanDuel's paying out over $10 million every week this season. And right now, FanDuel is giving you up to $200 free. That's right. For every dollar you deposit, FanDuel will match it up to $200. Just go to FanDuel.com, click the microphone in the upper right corner, and enter code 5544. FanDuel.com, code 5544.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. State police are now investigating the second officer-involved fatal shooting in Wasilla this year. We told you on Monday officers shot and killed 23-year-old Michael Bonte after he allegedly refused orders to drop a gun. In March, an officer fatally shot 52-year-old Gordon Samal as he allegedly was trying to drive a truck at an officer. Trial has begun for a former Glen Allen dentist accused of sexually assaulting a woman. 44-year-old Kevin Brent Shedlock is accused of assaulting a woman who was incapacitated by alcohol during a night of heavy drinking in August 2013 prior to an annual conference of the Copper River Native Association. The defense apparently will claim it was consensual. The congregation at the Pentecostal Holiness Church of Bethel is grieving after a fast-moving fire burned down their church this week. No one was injured. That's your Hot Talk News update. Local weather is next.
Sunshine and clouds with a shower or two, high 56. Periods of rain for tonight, low 45. Periods of rain Wednesday, high 55. Tomorrow night, low 45. Sunshine and clouds for Friday, high 56. And on Saturday, mostly cloudy, high again, 56. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
This is Herb Ekman with Alaska Sausage. I have some news for you hunters. Our specials this year include our famous bratwurst, pastrami, Polish hot dog. Our specials are always very popular, and I believe you're really going to love these. We have been processing game meat for Alaskan hunters for over 45 years. We know superior products start with superior meat, and that's why we only accept clean game meat that's been well cared for before it gets to us. Our traditional old-world recipes turn your carefully prepared meat into superior products. You will be happy to serve your family and friends.
Alaska Sausage, 2914 Arctic Boulevard. And for our Valley customers, there's no need to bring your game all the way to Anchorage. Now you can simply drop your clean, boneless meat at Smoked Alaska Seafoods in Wasilla, where Alaska Sausage will pick it up, complete your order, and bring it back to you.
Just tell them Herb sent you.
When I grew up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything. From auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
What if buying your next car could actually be enjoyable? At Payless Car Sales, we believe it should be. If you're in the market for your next car, come by and meet our knowledgeable staff and explore our selection of quality vehicles. We offer military discounts, and we give all of our customers Carfax history reports. We can also provide warranties and handle all of your lending needs. Just like driving your car should be enjoyable, so should buying it. Visit us downtown at 919 East 5th Avenue or on our website at paylesssales.com. Payless Car Sales, where Alaskans drive.
You're on with Alaska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Fagan, Biegel. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. The Talk of the Valley. K.
$7:35 in the morning, Wednesday morning. We're glad you're here. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. Did you get all your notes covered? Did you? Bonnie came in this morning with.
Let me check here.
That's
tons of notes. And
got to pick up the eggs.
There might be some stuff I save for later.
I was telling Glen's kids yesterday, that most people don't look like Glen, or think Glen is funny, but he actually is very funny.
So that's such a backhanded comment.
It really is.
I mean,
and he
honestly,
said that to me the other day too. It really
I never
hurt my
said you were
feelings.
funny.
You said you're not a funny person, but
Right.
that was actually pretty funny.
Yeah, that's right. But I said Glen is funny.
Oh.
I said you are not funny.
Oh, that
So
makes
that's not
me
a-
feel so much
thanks for
better.
that clarification.
The comment that I gave you was not. It was what you said, because people could be funny accidentally. They are all the time. But unless you have the capability of being funny.
And I said I was funny. I was voted class clown, and you
That's
said
not
that's
funny.
not funny.
That's silly.
just foolish,
Yeah.
basically.
But Glen, I'm saying, Glen has these little comments he'll throw in there. They're very subtle. They're very low key, and it's very funny.
Well, that's because he's just like dry humor.
But that's funny. I like people who, I think Robin Williams is a good comedian, but he wasn't my type of comedian. I like the subtle, understated, kind of throw a little comment here, and that's what Glen does all the
Eddie
time.
Murphy kind of thing.
Yeah. Well.
No, not Eddie
not
Murphy.
really. No.
That was sarcasm.
I
Not
think
at all.
Letterman has a little of that.
Bill Cosby is like that.
Cosby's pretty funny, yeah.
Mhm.
But most people, here's the thing about being funny, and my poor friend Charisse Millette, who's state representative, she, I was having lunch with her several years ago, probably like 10 years ago, and I said, I was telling her that I just don't think she's a funny person, because most people aren't funny. Very few people are funny. And she took offense like that. I don't know why. And then
I can't imagine.
Unfunny people usually do.
And
That's
then
just the way
I
they're
said
built.
something about, she was saying something about she thinks she's too short or something. And I said, no, you're a big woman. And what I meant was tall. But I said it in the context of height. The conversation was clearly surrounding height, not girth.
Want a bigger shovel? Tall.
But it was the conversation. The conversation was about height. She said, I'm not that tall. She said, oh, no, you're a big woman. And what I meant to say was tall. So I'm telling you, this is how women are, by the way. Let me tell you how women are, Bonnie. And Teresa and I are very good friends. I would say since that day 10 years ago, she has said to me offhand, well, I'm a big unfunny woman, you know. Thousands of times.
Never let it go.
Thousands of times.
That is on the list.
Yes.
Yes, it's not coming off.
And she'll just throw it, you know, when we talk whatever, she'll go, well, you know, I am a big unfunny woman.
Throw it in your face again.
So whenever you're talking about a woman's physical appearance, don't even get close to that.
Did you ever apologize and ask for forgiveness?
I've begged for years. Please, you're not a big unfunny woman. I mean, you're unfunny, but you're not big.
It's not a very good apology.
I will
Doesn't
not
really work.
I will not back down on my stance that people are basically fundamentally not funny. And this is what I hate. And this is why I'm such an oddball and I'm not a normal human being. When I go to parties or when I hang out with people and everybody starts cracking jokes and none of them are funny and yet everybody's laughing, I don't know what to do in that environment. Because I can't fake laugh. I
can just see you.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's really funny. That's good. That's good joke there. I just can't. I can't assimilate.
Everyone else is laughing.
I know.
Therefore, it is funny.
No.
Yes.
They're easy laughs. It's not genuinely funny.
It's a pity laugh.
Dan,
yeah.
People want to laugh.
Oh, I understand. I don't begrudge
They want
them.
joy
Laugh all
in their
your
life.
The laughter is a good medicine.
Yes.
And I understand all that.
Right.
But you know, when my dad first got cancer and he was in the hospital, and I was writing a column for the Anchorage Daily News.
If you try to get funny with this, I can tell you right now, it's not gonna.
I wrote a column about my dad, and my tribute to him was that he makes people laugh. He's so stinking funny, but he doesn't try to be funny. It's just his personality, and that was my column. That is his gift to mankind, because all through his life, everyone he came into contact with, he made them laugh.
Right.
And it was such a gift and people loved my dad because of that.
Yeah.
And so I wrote the column, and my mother printed it out and brought it to him in the hospital bed, and he passed it out to all the nurses and all the doctors, and yeah, it was a great thing. But so I just saw my dad operate that way, and it's not that you're a bad person if you're not funny. I'm just telling you, you just don't have the capability of being genuinely
somebody
funny.
Says it's not that it's a bad thing that X.
It definitely is.
It's a bad thing.
No, I know what you mean, though. I have a couple friends who are witty. They're witty, and
Clever,
that's what
witty.
makes it so funny. They're quick-witted.
Right.
They can come back with a really funny quip so fast, and I just admire that.
And most people don't have that gift.
No.
But that's what makes it special.
Yes.
That's what makes it stand out.
Yeah, because when you have a quick wit, but it's not cutting, you know,
right?
That's where a lot of people who do have a quick wit, they oftentimes will say something and it actually will
hurt.
Every gift has a balcony and a basement.
Ah.
Every gift has a balcony and a basement.
Like balcony you can jump off of, and a basement you can hide in.
See, that wasn't funny. She laughed, but she's an easy laugh.
She knows what I'm saying.
The balcony is the good side of the gift. The basement is the bad side of the gift. That's exactly what you described with witty people who are cutting.
Mm-hmm.
They use their gift in the basement. You can still be like Letterman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, talking about Palin's daughter.
Oh.
That's horrible. And people who are funny can sometimes take that gift and just use it to cut people down. And it's funny still because they have that gift.
Yeah.
But it's a misappropriation. Bonnie now cannot speak. She's laughing so hard. Well, what's
You
wrong
have
with
me figured out. That's pity laughter.
Oh, that you just fake laugh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're an easy laugh. I'll bet your husband probably thinks he's funny, but he's probably not funny. I've never met your husband, but he probably thinks he's funny because you laugh at everything he says.
I like to laugh. I'm a laugher.
And I don't want to discourage laughter. Please, ladies and gentlemen, across the state of Alaska, do not stop laughing. Continue to laugh. Go about your way laughing.
Mm-hmm.
But just realize that it's not always because the person you're listening to is genuinely funny.
Right. I agree. I'll quit laughing at Glenn.
I always loved your show when you would have people call up and try and make you laugh. everyone else was laughing, and here you were. Okay.
That was
next.
dumb.
Sharon Lehow would be laughing so hard she'd be crying.
Yes.
Now that would be a good video.
Yes.
Because I'm telling you, these people would call up and they would say stuff, and she would just be, I'm serious, tears would be running down her face. She'd be bent over, laughing so hard. And, of course, she would never turn her mic on. Because she said she didn't like the way she sounded when she laughed. And even with her, even watching her not be able to control her laughter.
Was funny.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And she was laughing more at me not reacting.
Yeah.
Than the actual people who were.
Wow. Anyway, I hope people do laugh. Whether it's fake or whether it's real.
Yes, I'm
trying to find people to really laugh at
Pro-laughter.
or with.
I am pro-laughter. Please don't misinterpret my comments as saying that I'm anti-laughter. It is a great, and you know what? I'll do that sometimes. I will absolutely do that. I will, sometimes when I'm having a down day, I will go to YouTube, and I will find a clip that'll make me laugh.
Yeah.
Just to help me get through that hour or that afternoon or
So
whatever.
I love that Louis C.K.
Yes.
clip so much the other day that we played with Conan that I thought, man, that guy's really funny. And we watched it in front of, the family, watched the whole thing, and there was other clips, and we thought, oh, this guy's funny. We'll keep watching. No. Don't watch him in front of your kids. Or your parents.
No.
He's very dirty.
Yes.
Yeah. But the clip that we played,
clip was funny.
It was great. Yeah. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. Joe Balash with the governor's office is coming up a little bit later on. Time currently 7:44. Stay with me. Time currently 7:44. Stay with
me. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Give them a call. 569-1080. KOAN.
When you've got the best ingredients, the pizza comes out right. That's just what we're cooking for every appetite. Experience the flavor, call us right away. 24/7, it's a pizza party day.
For the past 20 years, Sicily's Pizza has served Alaskans hot, fresh, quality pizza at a great price. And as a special thanks to all of their loyal customers, Sicily's is having a 20th anniversary sale. Any pizza, any size, for just 20 cents. Now that's an offer that you really can sink your teeth into. Call 333-8000 and order the Sicily's 20th anniversary special. Buy any pizza, any size, and get a second pizza for only 20 cents. Order online at sicilyspizza.com. Offer valid for pickup and carry out only. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza. 333-8000.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out moviesacre.com. It's showtime. Movie times, previews, and more.
Get tickets, friends stuff.
Lots of information to explore.
Great restaurants.
Now you'll know just where to go before and after every show. Check out moviesacre.com. It's showtime.
You know, there are many people in Anchorage who have their own special place for gifts for occasions like Mother's Day or birthdays, anniversaries, whatever. Into Bell's Nursery and Gifts they go. And there's always something perfect. Bell's Gift Shop on Specking Road has a truly incredible selection of unique creative gift ideas. Crystal, glass, and china and flatware, a wonderful kitchen section, candles, lotions and potions, and of course delicious C's candies, and lots more. Great for browsing or finding that special gift. The Gift Shop at Bell's Nursery on Specking Road.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give them a call. 5ENT 92.5 FM, 1020 AM.
$7:47 Wednesday morning. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. If you need a roof, need a new roof, need repairs to your roof, Earhart Roofing, they're the premier, top of the line, most trusted and respected roofing company in all of Alaska. Earhart Roofing, they've been around 4 decades. It's a long time, plus 2 years, 42 years. Frank and Becky Earhart and their son James, they built their business from scratch. They now have 60 employees, 17 trucks, How did they get so big? How did they get so trusted? Well, they're the very best at what they do. They offer you a 50-year warranty when they install a roof for you. 50 years, folks. What more do you need to know? If somebody guarantees their work for 50 years, really, is there any debating how good they are? Well, that's Earhart Roofing. Whether it's industrial, commercial, residential, they can install a roof in your home within 2 days. Here's their number. Give them a call. 345-5555. 345-5555. Earhart Roofing. Glen Biegel's right over there. There's Bonnie Cameron. She's got what do you got on today? A scarf? Some kind of white thing. Glen's got a little gray sweater on, T-shirt underneath. He had like 7 layers walking in today.
Yeah. Dan's ready for golfing down in Louisiana.
I'm ready for the beach.
And actually, we match really good for that picture.
All three of us?
Yeah, he's got gray on. I have gray.
They're going to take a picture of us today.
I think it looks good. It'll look good.
Put it on a bus or something. 569-1080. 569-1080. Here's Chris. Chris, you're on.
Hello, guys. It's a pleasure to talk to you again.
Thank you.
I just wanted to make a quick point about labor costs and the project labor agreements. Glenn was bringing up the automatic burger thing. Machines don't file workman's comp claims. They don't pay Social Security tax. They don't have Medicaid, Medicare, all the other stuff that people are required to pay. So there's not just the wage aspect of.
They don't require any training. They show up to work on time. They don't talk back. They don't spit in your hamburger. They don't
all that thing. But also with the project labor agreements that Walker is pushing, and the unionized labor. What that is going to do, if it doesn't destroy the ability to do the pipeline at all, it's going to drive immense amounts of that work that could be done by Alaskans into factories and automated as much as possible.
Yeah.
There's going to be, automatic pipe welding machines where they're going to ship, huge chunks up here on flat cars or rail cars or what have you, instead of having a welder do it on site.
Right.
Because, so all of that stuff that Walker's saying he's pro worker, what he really is pro second class citizen. If you're a union worker, you're going to get wages and inflated time off, all that other stuff. And if you're not, you're going to get replaced to the greatest extent possible by machines and by foreign labor just to make the project viable.
Will it force people to go into unions who do not want to be in unions?
Oh, I'm sure it will to a certain extent. But
another anti-freedom aspect of it, and that's really the part that I hate the most, the idea that you are going to be forced to go into some organization with whom you completely disagree with politically.
It's worse than that, Glenn. Here's how it works. If you're a construction company that's decided not to be union, you're not going to become a union shop to work on a project. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to pay the union bosses cash just to work on the project. And you get nothing for that because you're not in their pension plan. You're not. So literally,
you're help funding their organizing, which is going to work against you politically.
You're help funding their organizing, which will work against you politically. You're helping their political agenda, which is to snuff out the non-union contractors.
To put more burden and regulation on you that they can have more and more control.
That's right.
And actually, you just brought up pensions, Dan, and that's actually a really good point, too. And that is that these pensions are, they're defined, which I think Walker is strongly in favor of.
Yes.
These defined benefit pension plans are, they're going to really hurt the state of Alaska financially, but they're ultimately, they're completely ridiculous and impossible.
Yes. You
have to guarantee like an 8% return per year over 30 years to make these work, and that's hardly ever happened. It's never going to happen if Vince Beltrami gets what he wants politically. So it's
Chris,
these unions want gigantic, generous pensions, but
Chris, let me
in charge.
They'll take the PFD, by the way, when push comes to shove. The PFD.
Well, some judge will order it.
Yeah.
Chris, let me ask you this, and I want to get your reaction to this. My opinion, other than maybe repealing ACEs, one of the greatest pieces of legislation that was ever passed, it was passed under Frank Murkowski, Ben Stevens, Senate President, which was to stop the bleeding for the state when it comes to state employee pensions, creating another tier of employees. Walker wants to go back to, as you say, the defined benefits, which will absolutely bankrupt the state. Do you agree with me that the greatest threat that Bill Walker presents as governor is not that he'll kill the pipeline, not that he'll go back to war with the oil industry and reduce the volumes of the pipeline, but that he will absolutely bankrupt the state because Vince Beltrami will be sitting on both sides of the negotiating table when it comes to dealing with unions, and the pension plan, the horrid, unsustainable pension plan that we've got rid of, will come back under Bill Walker's leadership?
I think that's certainly a major problem with Bill Walker. But I'm relatively young, and I think that, for the people who think that Bill Walker is going to be looking out for them, you can have a defined benefit pension plan if you're 30, say, but it doesn't mean anything. That's the problem I really have, is that you can talk all day about having a defined benefit pension plan. The fact is that the money's just not going to be there.
Yeah.
Illinois is already bankrupt because of it. California is already bankrupt because of it.
But don't you think, because Alaska has such great wealth, that we will be able to sustain our unsustainable plan longer than other states? But what it'll mean is wiping out our wealth.
Yeah, it won't matter over the long term. And frankly, if those other states don't have wealth to spend, then they don't need our oil or our timber or our minerals or anything else. So if we don't have a market to sell to people, ultimately we're dependent on the prosperity of others buying gas or buying gold or what have you, or buying fish. So there's no real upside to Bill Walker, except you get a feel good of feeling good about the oil companies, which are 90% of our revenue as a state, and employ thousands and thousands of people at very generous wages.
Yeah.
Already. So the union case is ridiculous.
Chris, I appreciate your call. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think people understand that so many conservatives, the envious, jealous, anti-oil populist conservatives, think Bill Walker's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I'm telling you, I would rather have he'd be 100 times worse than Tony Knowles, and 1,000 times worse than Sarah Palin, because he will resurrect Sarah Palin's oil industry war. But he's so pro-union that we're going to get Vince Beltrami is going to literally run this state. He is not figuratively going to run the state. He is literally going to run the state. And Vince is very good at what he does, which is getting the most amount of cash out of the private sector into the government sector, so his government sector and union members can get more money.
I can tell you this, it is very hard as a regular citizen to compete against AFL-CIO money.
Mm-hmm.
Did an average citizen go and tell Byron Malott, look, buddy, you got to get out of this race. I realize you're a Democrat. I realize you don't agree with Bill Walker on, a dozen super critical, absolute go, no-go positions. But you got to get out of this race, or there's no cash. There's not going to be a race. So get out of the race, become a lieutenant governor for Bill Walker, or there is no race for you. No average person has that power. Nobody can come up with the hundreds of thousands of dollars and, who knows, thousands of hours of, quote, volunteer time from union members to go out and beat the streets. These guys have so much power, and yes, some of this is jealousy. I am jealous. I sit there with the Alaska Policy Forum trying to get information out, trying to figure out how to come these unions that are so powerful. They have so much control over everything. They can elect people to the Chugach Electric Board. They can elect people to the local school board.
Control the school board.
Yeah, they just won an Anchorage seat over a good candidate. It is maddening to sit here and try and play the average person's salary against people who have controlled the process, have gotten raises of 5% and 6% every year, when we haven't gotten raises in 5 or 6 years. And so I realize some of it's jealousy, and I will admit that right off the bat. But I don't like the game they're playing. I really don't. I don't think it's fair. I don't think that it allows for average citizens to speak against the special interests.
Well, they figured out the system. They can buy a Mark Begich legally. They could within the law literally buy politicians. They could buy a Bill Walker. Folks, Vince Beltrami says, you don't get any of my cash till you do what I say. Bill Walker says, okay.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want me to do?
What position do you want me to give up? That's the question that I think that should be being asked. How give up?
How much clearer can it get? 569-1080, 569-1080. 7:57 is 7:57 is the time. Fagan, Biegel, Bonnie.
The 2014 Blues Train departs Anchorage for Seward on Saturday, September 20th. Imagine traveling through the most breathtaking scenery that Alaska has to offer, all while listening to the great sounds of the Ira Sellers Band. Add your favorite cocktail, and some righteous appetizers, and you'll have this year's Blues Train. Once you arrive in Seward, you'll be treated to a barbecue and a party at the Pit Bar. Then you can relax in your hotel room or take in the sights that only Seward has to offer. Sunday, you're back on board the Alaska Railroad for your trip back to Anchorage. The 2014 Blues Train will sell out, so don't wait to get your tickets. Find more information at knik.com, or to make reservations, go to akrailroad.com. Blues Train 2014, brought to you by Blues Central Production, the Alaska Railroad, and by your friends at Alaska Integrated Media.
You're listening to Hot Talk, KOAN Anchorage, AM 1080, and retranslated on 95.1 FM on K236CG Anchorage.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. Embassy Security The Focus says the new House Select Committee on the Benghazi attacks holds its first public hearing. Fox News Radio's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Lisa, leaders try to set a bipartisan tone at the opening of the Benghazi Select Committee. South Carolina Republican Trey Gowdy is heading up the 12-member panel.
I remain hopeful that there are some things left in our country that can rise above politics.
Maryland Democrat Elijah Cummings called on members to rise above unseemly partisanship. Today's hearing is focusing on the findings of the Accountability Review Board's investigation as new allegations surfaced that Hillary Clinton aides tried to hide potentially damaging documents from that board. Lisa.
Rachel, thanks. President Obama has just been briefed on the plan to fight ISIS at U.S. Central Command in Tampa, where he is just about to speak to Air Force personnel at MacDill. Meantime, the House could vote today on arming and training Syrian rebels. The NFL has a new drug policy. Fox News Radio's Jeff Manasso with this live.
Lisa, under the new rules, players will be tested for human growth hormones. Testing was originally agreed upon 3 years ago, but the players fought both the science behind the tests and the appeals process for positive results. Now, as part of the agreement, testing continues with appeals heard by third-party arbitrators. Discipline for violations will be modified, and the league also allowing 3 previously suspended players to return to their teams this week.
Jeff, thanks. The Vikings about to hold a news conference, meantime, explaining the overnight reversal that has taken Adrian Peterson off the active roster until child abuse charges against him are resolved.
A limited amount of resources. So you have to be very selective in who you try to persuade. That's not saying that people you write off are impossible, but it is unwise to try to persuade ISIS or Al-Qaeda. When you see people here who are kind of in the middle, they don't know, they don't really understand things. It's much more, the limited resources that we have, we go for those folks. The hard leftists on ADN, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's unwise for me, who has limited amount of time and resources, to try to penetrate such a hard heart, assuming I'm right and they're wrong. Maybe I'm wrong and they're right, whatever. But that's all I'm saying. It's a wisdom decision. I'm not giving up on anybody. I'm not going to give up on the head of ISIS. The head of ISIS. Look, the guy who went around killing Christians, torturing them, the most despicable man alive at that time. He becomes God's spokesman. I'm never going to give up on anybody. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. But in my day, if I was living back then and I had a talk show, I wouldn't be worried about reaching Paul.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I'm thinking, this guy's evil. I'm not going to try. Because that's not a wise allocation of my resources.
Yeah.
That's the difference. You understand the difference?
I do.
Okay.
I was just trying to prove you wrong on something. Anything.
24/7, it's a pizza party day.
For the past 20 years, Sicily's Pizza has served Alaskans hot, fresh, quality pizza at a great price. And as a special thanks to all of their loyal customers, Sicily's is having a 20th anniversary sale. Any pizza, any size, for just 20 cents. Now that's an offer that you really can sink your teeth into. Call 333-8000 and order the Sicily's 20th anniversary special. Buy any pizza, any size, and get a second pizza for only 20 cents. Order online at SicilysPizza.com. Offer valid for pickup and carry out only. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza. 333-8000.
I like my breakfast like I like my rock. Soft. So I eat Belvita Soft Baked Breakfast Biscuits, a tasty breakfast option for nutritious morning energy. It's just what I want before writing a flute solo that will softly rock every dentist's office around. Try Belvita Soft Baked in oats and chocolate, cinnamon, mixed berry, and banana bread. Belvita, morn and win.
When Malarkey Mark Begich ran for U.S. Senator, he made a lot of claims about his record as Anchorage mayor. Begich knew the truth wouldn't come to light before the election. But now, history has caught up with Malarkey Mark. Under Begich, Anchorage taxes went up 27%. Under Begich, the city budget ballooned, a $142 million increase in spending. Under Begich, the city was saddled with unprecedented 5-year union contracts. Under Begich, a deficit of over $20 million was left for the next mayor to deal with. Begich left Anchorage in serious trouble. Alaska's Energy, America's Values paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. It's time to replace Malarkey Mark with U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. EnergyandValues.com.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
Hot Talk KOAN, man.
Build with us.
Fagan and Biegel. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley.
6 minutes past 8 o'clock. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. You want to pay less or more for your car? Well, if you want to pay more, I really can't help you. But if you want to pay less, go to Payless Car Sales over on East 5th Avenue. Ali Sheik is the owner there, and he's a guy you're going to love. You're going to meet him. You're going to shake his hand. You're going to look at him in the eye, and you go, this is a guy I can trust. He just has that aura about him. He's a sincere, honest guy, and that's the way he runs his dealership. His non-commissioned sales team are there for one reason only, to answer your questions, to help you with any questions you may have about their inventory, and to get you into an awesome vehicle for a great price. And it's not like you're going to have to pick from 4 or 5 cars. He's got a huge selection of some of the most beautiful cars, trucks, SUVs in Anchorage. Well, Payless Car Sales is now the second largest used car lot in town, and they're the fastest growing in Alaska. Payless Car Sales over on East 5th Avenue, Ali Sheik. Go see him. East 5th Avenue, Payless Car Sales. Our telephone number here on the Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron Show is 569-1080. 569-1080. We are broadcasting on KOAN and KVNT. 4 signals, 95.1 FM in Anchorage, 1080 AM in Anchorage, 92.5 FM in the Valley and in Anchorage, and then 1020 AM in the Valley. We're the only show in the history of Alaska to be on 4 different signals. And we're thrilled you found us. Again, our number, 569-1080. 569-1080. Jeff, you're on.
Hey, Dan, just 2 questions. When did Bill Walker ever say he wanted to go back to a defined benefit pension plan? And do you think Parnell has done a good job on the budget?
I've asked Bill Walker that, and he has told me that directly.
Okay, because I've never heard him say that.
Yeah, no, well, most media people would not ask him that, but I've asked him that, and he said yes. He thought, look, anything that's going to help the union, he's going to take the position for. And he said he wants to go back to the defined benefit. I do believe Walker has done a moderately good job. I mean, I'm sorry, Parnell has done a moderately good job on the budget. You know, he put $3 billion into the pension plan, the unfunded liabilities, and people put that into the mix when they criticize how much he spent.
No, because the deficits have happened before that. The transfer was this year. We've had deficits for the last 3 years.
Well, I'm talking about this year. And so,
3 years. 30% of the reserves or savings have already been spent. And the rest is going to be gone in about 7 or 8 years.
Really? You know, that's funny because I've been hearing that since 1997.
Well,
and next year we're going to fall off the cliff. The year after that we're going to fall off the cliff.
We got lucky because the price of oil went up to $140.
Yeah, we always seem to get lucky. The doom and gloom crowd, they never seem to, their prophecies never seem to come true because I guess we just get lucky.
Jeff, let me ask you this. Is it possible that we get more oil in the pipeline?
It is possible. I hope that happens. But
you know, I was told something, and I don't know whether you know this, but and I don't even know whether this is true, but I was told that at current levels, $95 a barrel, we actually get more money under Senate Bill 21 than under ACES into the Treasury.
I believe it's marginally more. But
well, let's get to the heart of what Jeff's saying.
The budget balance is at $105.
All right, Jeff, what your premise is that Walker do a better job with the budget? Is that what you're?
He's saying that he's concerned about that, and he is
Jeff,
to deal with it.
You cannot be pro-union and be a fiscal hawk. You can't. The problem with the budget is the unions. You cannot let the unions sit on both sides of the negotiating table and say, I'm going to be a reduced, I'm going to spend less. It's absurd. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. You can't possibly think that Walker is going to spend less than Parnell with Vince Beltrami sitting in the governor's mansion.
Do you know why likely spending will go down under Walker? Because there will be gridlock between the governor and the legislature, and historically, whenever there's gridlock, spending goes down because they both want to prove the other one is.
This is a hard question, and I realize it's probably unfair because usually no politician asks and answers it. But I asked and answer it because Walker claims he's going to do better on the budget. What is Walker going to cut?
Well, I would hope he would cut the capital budget because that's the easiest place. I would hope he would appoint commissioners that are serious about dealing with the department's budgets.
Has he actually promised to cut anything? I mean,
why would the union support him if they really thought he was going to cut the budget? If they thought he was going to be a fiscal hawk,
if he was going to cut 5,000 jobs out of the state budget, which is kind of what you're saying. If you get commissioners that are serious about cutting the budget, then you cut positions because that's really where 70-80% of the expenditure is. So you're saying that Walker, with Malott on the ticket, is going to put commissioners in there that are actually going to cut back
to the delight
number of employees.
Beltrami.
I'm saying that I hope he does, and I'm saying.
Well, why is Beltrami supporting him?
Why would you hope that he does that? I mean, everybody hopes that he does that, but why do you think?
It's not a matter of if you cut the budget; it's a matter of when you cut the budget.
Why are the unions supporting him?
Parnell cut the budget. Do you agree with that or not,
Jeff? Why would the unions support a guy who's going to shrink government when they're on the forefront of growing government?
Yeah, I'm telling you what Bill Walker has been saying is that he understands.
Why would the union support a guy who is going to cut government, shrink government, lay off union employees when the unions are at the forefront of growing government?
I think that the people are sick of Parnell and that it's a clear.
Why would the union support a guy?
I'm not convinced they're supporting as much as you say they are. I mean,
you got to be kidding me.
You don't think that the AFL-CIO and Vince Beltrami was behind the startup of this ticket?
I think this has been talked about for a long time. I don't know. I
Well,
don't
it was
know.
talked about for a long
I don't
time,
get
but it
behind
got into the
that.
paper, and then a week later, where the AFL-CIO said they weren't going to fund either one of them unless they got together. They got together, and nobody's ever even heard of that until the AFL-CIO told them to.
No, this was being talked about before that.
All right, so your answer to my question is that the unions are not supporting Bill Walker. Which Jeff?
My answer is I don't. My answer is I don't know about
Jeff, have you read the columns?
my-
Have you read Altrami's editorial? Have you heard him speak anywhere? Jeff, honestly, that is. Look, I've been doing a talk show a long time. I've heard some really wrong answers before, but that probably is the most wrongest.
Yeah,
if
a
you
lot
will.
more people are supporting Walker than the union. Okay.
But I'm asking you why the unions are so rabidly behind Walker if Walker's going to lay off a bunch of their own members and cut.
Why don't you ask the union people that? Because I'm not part of the union. I'm not a spokesperson. for the union.
But your position here, Jeff, is you don't think the unions, because I agree with you, a lot of conservatives are supporting Bill Walker, but I have a difficulty with him saying that he's for smaller government, given the fact that the AFL-CIO is so solidly behind him. I think Dan's point is a good one here, and I think conservatives are fooling themselves that this Walker-Malott ticket will not enter into a whole new era of battles with the oil industry and a whole new era of hiring new employees and giving unions special benefits. I don't believe for a second they're going to do anything against the unions if this is
I've heard
elected.
Walker say multiple times that he understands what has to happen is going to be decisions are going to have to be made that are unpopular and that are going to not be perceived as.
Can't we
as
find
good by
out what
people. And
those
he's
are?
willing to do what?
Can't we find out what those are? I mean, what is he going to do?
Well, and I hope in the next month, I hope that all this comes out.
Now
I really do.
but you don't think Parnell got it from an $8 billion to $7 billion to a $5.9 billion budget? You don't believe that?
It was 6.2 and this year, and just because it went down, we're still.
We learned something new from Jeff today. Vince Beltrami wants smaller government and fewer union employees.
Yay! All right, Vince,
that's a
welcome.
new lesson that
Welcome.
we learned.
We've got to
welcome to the fiscal conservative side of things, Vince Beltrami.
Nice to have you on.
That's ridiculous. 814. Conservative side of things, Vince Beltrami.
Nice to have you on.
That's ridiculous.
Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online Fagan and Biegel.
Starts with superior meat. That's why Alaska Sausage only accepts good, clean game meat that has been well cared for before it gets to us.
You know, there's a lot of hard work involved in bringing back your moose or caribou or sheep. A lot of hard work. So it only makes sense to take it where you'll get the best sausage and meat. Alaska Sausage, near the corner of Arctic and Benson. And our Valley customers can drop their clean, boneless meat at Smoked Alaska Seafoods, where Alaska Sausage will pick it up and complete your order.
Just tell them Herb sent you.
I've got almost 6 years in the Army.
10 great years.
I joined in 06. Family really wants to be settled in one place.
I got so much experience and technical training in the Army. Now I want to turn that into a civilian career.
I'm ready to go to college now.
Get the best of both worlds in the Army National Guard. Serve your country and your community part-time while you live your life as a full-time civilian. Visit nationalguard.com or talk to your RCCC about making the transition.
Sponsored by the Alaska National Guard, aired by the Alaska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is Olympic cross-country skier Holly Brooks. Do you know a girl who loves camping, sports, and science, community service, and making new friends? If so, she's ready to be a Girl Scout. Girl Scouts creates leadership opportunities for girls. They develop life skills, habits of teamwork, and a strong sense of self. Girl Scouts gives every girl a chance to discover who she is and what she can be. How do I know? Because I was a Girl Scout. Visit www.girlscoutsalaska.org or call 248-2250.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
All right, 8:17 in the morning. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie on KOAN, KVNT, our number 569-1080. We have with us in the studio Joe Bailash, who is the Commissioner of Department of Natural Resources under the Parnell administration. Joe, great to see you again. How are you?
I'm well, Dan. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's good to see you, and we're glad you're here. And how long have you been? You got to turn that mic on, Brian. There you go. How long have you been in the commissioner spot?
I was appointed late last year following the resignation of Dan Sullivan, who's off venturing into United States Senate business.
From what I understand, and this is people that I trust and that I think are pretty honest, credible folks, we've never been closer to getting a gas pipeline, or at least we've made some major strides in getting a gas pipeline in the last, real frankly, couple of years. Is that fair? Is that accurate? Is that your position?
I think that's absolutely correct. This is the first time that we've had the state and the private parties all working together to advance the project.
Tell me about the progress, and specifically, what is it that encourages you that this thing is really going to go?
Well, it really goes back to the leadership that Governor Parnell has shown in dealing with the oil and gas companies on this project. He has taken some very measured steps, insisting on gets for any gives and commensurate commitments on the part of each party. He's very particular about who he communicates with inside the companies. He makes sure that when he's talking as the decision maker for the state of Alaska, he's talking to decision makers at those companies. That's not always the people who work here. In fact, most often it's not the case. So we have been very deliberate about making sure we have peer-to-peer communication going on, and making sure that Alaska is being put on an equal footing with the other partners.
I have been watching the gas line issue roll across. I think it's the biggest issue. I think it's the one that most people are paying attention to. And I guess what I'd like to hear is, from start to finish, make the case that this is more real this time, why it's more real, what has changed since, the last several times when we've been trying to get a gas line. What's changed since AGIA, the Gas Line Inducement Act under Palin, for instance?
Sure.
Is that a fair question?
That's an absolutely fair question, and I happen to know a little something about the AGIA process. I was square in the middle of it when I worked for Governor Palin. So the biggest thing I would say right now is that what's different, what's changed, is that we have aligned our interests and the company's interests moving in the same direction. And you can actually hearken back to TAPS as a way to understand.
And what changed that?
What changed it? I think it was a combination of things. The first one being that following the elections in 2010 and some of the work that we were doing to advance a gas project, it was clear that we had struck out on this position where it was the state's way or the highway.
Right.
With AGIA. We came up with the plan, we came up with the funding, we were taking the risk.
Yeah.
And, gosh golly, we didn't have a whole lot of private sector capital at risk.
Right.
And in order to get those other parties to take risk, they needed to see the state working in concert with them as partners and not as adversaries.
Is it fair to say that the Trans-Canada route, the across Canada disaster, if we would have followed that to the hilt, we would have been priced out of the market. We could not have possibly competed. It would have been a waste of tens of billions of dollars.
I think that's a fair assessment.
And so
if you look at the numbers
people should
today,
be thankful that process was a failure, although Palin originally was going to try to go in state with it.
Oh, there's no question that the AGIA process, the statute, was set up for an LNG applicant.
How did that change, by the way? I was on board. That's part of you. I think you might have been part of her campaign as well. I was part of her campaign. That was one of the main reasons why I was there.
I did not play a role in her campaign in 2006, but I came on the staff shortly after.
Why did she change? Did you get a sense of that?
I think it was based on an expectation that going to North America was the way the producers wanted to go, and that was the path of least resistance. That was the project that at that time was most likely to succeed.
But that was when the shale formation was just in its infancy. We didn't know the saturation.
Absolutely.
So even the oil companies were wrong on this.
They absolutely were. They've admitted as much.
Sure, absolutely. Now I want to ask you. Well, I'll ask you a question that may sound political in nature, but it's really your expertise question. Bill Walker says that he's already got the buyers for the gas line. They're going to take all the risk. It'll be a snap once he gets elected.
Is Mitsubishi and KOGAS that these guys want Alaska gas, and so
is it true, Commissioner, that the buyers, the customers, take the risk, and that it's the producers should just do it because they don't have anything to worry about? State has no risk. Is that because that's his assertion? Is it right, Glenn?
His assertion is we go off to Mitsubishi and KOGAS. They say, well, we would like to buy gas from you. We take those, quote, contracts. We go over to Wall Street. Wall Street turns those contracts into billions and upon billions of dollars. We bring that money up to Alaska, and we build a line. That's what he's told me the process is.
Well, that's interesting.
And be honest here, because I am just like honest. No, well, look, we're entering into politics here, and I guess the point is that a lot of people we're just simple people. We don't really understand how all this stuff fits together.
It's not simple.
So look, my job at DNR is to maximize the value of our resources.
Yeah.
That means I'm supposed to go out and get the highest dollar and pay the lowest cost to move that resource to market. So when somebody suggests that the buyers are going to take the risk, you want to know how that's reflected? In a lower price. Why on earth, in this whole buyer-seller relationship, would we want to start with the buyers on our side and get a low price for our gas? That deprives the permanent fund of billions of dollars. It deprives the general fund treasury of billions of dollars. And if he's going to start with that contract between the buyers and the state and then go to Wall Street, you think Wall Street's going to do it for free? No. You've got to be kidding me.
Yeah. So no,
what's
more billion
left
dollars
for Alaska
gone
in
there.
that equation?
I went out and looked for any project which had been funded from the purchaser's side, and I went through Australia, I went through some of the Southeast Asia countries. I couldn't find any. People just don't sign contracts for gas for like 30 years at a level price. They have no idea. The longest one I found was 15 years. That was one contract. Every other one was 10 years or less. We're not even going to have gas for 10 years. So how could people buying our gas fund the line?
Well, a lot of times the term of a contract is very much dependent upon the amount of reserves available for the project. And in Alaska, our project has 34 trillion cubic feet behind it, which is conventional resource. Most of it we've seen at Prudhoe Bay cycle through the field on a couple of occasions, and we know it's there. There's very low or little resource risk. So we have the ability to do longer-term contracts, but on the outside edge, we're probably talking 20 years. Buyers aren't necessarily interested in locking in to.
They think there's going to be more gas coming online, that they would be able to negotiate a better price?
Well, it's all about your fundamental belief in markets. And there's an incredible abundance of natural gas around the world. It's getting it from the ground to the market that is the struggle to match up the cost of producing that gas and transporting that gas. That
just to be clear, will Korean Gas and Mitsubishi give tens of billions of dollars in contracts that will turn into a $65 billion line or not?
I saw both of those companies last week, Glenn, and neither one of them offered me so much as $1, let alone billions.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner of the Department of Natural Resources, Joe Bailash, is with us, 569-1080. 1080. Let's go to Tom. Tom, you're on with Commissioner Baelish. We lost him. If Mr. Walker does get elected and he decides to go the customer route, what would that do to the progress the governor has made up to the governor and you and former DNR Commissioner Sullivan has made in progressing the line?
Well, you know, it's hard to say. I mean, I've seen a lot of different things in print. I've not had a conversation with Mr. Walker myself, so I don't know exactly what his plan would be.
Well, assuming he would move forward with the customer having the leverage and driving the process.
You know, it would not be difficult within the construct we have today to go that route. But I think fundamentally the problem that I see with what I've heard is he wants to call all the shots. He wants to put the project on Alaska's timeline. Well, in order to do that, in order for us to make all the decisions, all of them, we have to be willing to take all of the risk. That means we have to be willing to pay for all of the project. And, you know, you might be able to then share that risk with a buyer, but that buyer's going to expect
lower prices,
minimizing
our value.
Exactly.
When we come back, I want Commissioner, if you could walk us through the process and what's next. What's the next big hurdle in getting this line online, and when we may see construction? We'll just kind of get specific here and maybe hopefully give some people some hope on this.
Absolutely.
Because you got to admit, we've been wanting this for a long time.
Alaskans have gas line fatigue.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Commissioner Joe Baelish, DNR Commissioner, on Fagan, Bonnie, and Biegel, KOAN, KVNT. 8:29 is the time.
Don't just sit there. Give them a call. 569-1080. Join the conversation. 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley.
By Jansen Funeral Homes, Jansen's Evergreen Memorial Chapel, Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center, and Jansen's Eagle River Funeral Home. Jansen Funeral Homes, where just like family, they're there when you need them.
KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. The congregation at the Pentecostal Holiness Church of Bethel is grieving after a fast-moving fire burned down their church this week. No one was injured. The state of Alaska has asked to intervene in lawsuits that challenge a timber sale on Prince of Wales Island. 2 lawsuits have been filed against the Big Thorn sale over its perceived impact on old-growth timber and wolf habitat. The state has filed motions to join the lawsuit on the side of the federal government. Finally, an adoption story is touching hearts at the Katmai National Park and Preserve. A mother bear named Holly has adopted a yearling grizzly cub who was abandoned by his biological mother. Rangers say Holly is feeding and caring for the cub along with her own 9-month-old offspring, and 3 of them appear to be preparing to go into hibernation together. Yes, that, or Mommy Bear is smart. She knows how hungry they'll get, setting aside what could be a very satisfying midwinter snack. That's your Hot Talk News update.
Sunshine and clouds with a shower or 2, high 56. Periods of rain for tonight, low 45. Periods of rain Wednesday, high 55. Tomorrow night, low 45. Sunshine and clouds for Friday, high 56. And on Saturday, mostly cloudy, high again 56. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM to 80 AM.
Chris here along with my buddy Brock. That's right, we're here to tell you to tune into The Beer Show every Saturday at 5 p.m. on 95.5 and 1080 KOAN. The Beer Show is brought to you by Brown Jug Alaska, Eagle River Ale House, Great Artisan Beverages, and the Odom Corporation. Please drink responsibly.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Eat like a Greek to live longer. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN's chief medical correspondent. You may have heard before that a Mediterranean diet is arguably the healthiest way to eat anywhere in the world. Many studies show it decreases your risk of heart disease, of developing cancer. Overall, it provides you a longer, more functional life. But not all Mediterranean foods yield these great results. So here's the recipe to get the benefits of a Greek diet. You need to eat more vegetables, fruits, nuts, olive oil. Also, 1 glass of wine a day is on the menu, but not consuming a lot of meat or excessive amounts of alcohol. Studies show it's the combination of those foods that do the trick. Just limiting alcohol intake won't make you live longer. Only about 20% of Americans eat 3 servings of vegetables a day. The Greeks, they grill veggies with olive oil. They serve that as a main dish. So it's time we eat like a Greek. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really?
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-467-7530, 800-467-7530.
When I grew up, I want to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything. From auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Why is A&A The Shop Alaska's independent Subaru specialist? How is it they've been voted the best shop in Anchorage not once but 6 times? Well, it's pretty simple. They offer the best warranty in the business. If they work on your Subaru, you're going to get a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on both parts and labor. That's unheard of. A&A The Shop deals exclusively with Subarus, and they also offer $35 oil changes. All their technicians are ASE certified. Call A&A The Shop for an appointment. 562-3919 in Anchorage and 696-2096 in Eagle River.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Talk of the Valley, KVNT, 92.5 FM, 1020 AM.
$8:35 in the morning. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron here on KOAN, KVNT. Chugach Chiropractic, Dr. Iwan Swigert and his team, Dr. Madden out there. So many people live a much improved life, a much healthier life, a much more pain-free life as a result of Dr. Swigert and his team at Chugach Chiropractic. Listen, you don't have to live with pain. It's not just a given. Don't give up. Don't give up. And no, you don't have to go into the knife. Dr. Swigert and his team, they will employ natural solutions to make sure you live a healthier life. Chugach Chiropractic, 694-9224. Excuse me. Talking to DNR Commissioner Joe Belash. So we're looking at the pipeline. What's the next big hurdle? What's the next big hurdle in getting this thing done? Joe?
The next big hurdle, Dan, is getting through what we're presently engaged in the pre-feed phase. There's a whole bunch of engineering work that's going on right now. There's literally
design,
yes, optimizing the design, finalizing the designs for the formal applications in 2016. So the work that's going on is being done by a whole team. We signed a venture agreement back at the end of June that established a new entity, a company, to take on this work.
And we being?
We, all of the sponsor parties. So
Okay.
the State of Alaska, ConocoPhillips,
Producers.
BP, ExxonMobil.
So after that, after design, what's the next step?
So That decision to go from pre-feed into feed is a $2 billion decision.
That the producers are mainly paying for.
They would be paying 75% of that cost.
So right there, you got $2 billion. You say
that's a $2 billion decision in 2016.
75%. They're ponying that money up now.
They have ponied up their share, their 75% of about a $500 million price tag.
But
for
it's
pre-feed.
begun. The money has begun to flow.
There are tens of millions of dollars being spent right now.
Right. Now, come on. What more do you need to know? Oil companies like good public relations, but they're not going to spend that kind of money just to try to fool Alaskans that they're going to build this thing.
So let me just.
Why don't I read this kind of stuff in the dispatch, by the way?
Well, part of it is we want to keep expectations reasonable. Yeah. We're not certain this project is going to happen, but by gosh, we have a very good set of facts behind us, and something. Just let me give you an example. Within this organization, the liquefaction has to be designed, engineered, and the leader of that team is ConocoPhillips' #1 LNG guy in the world. #1. The guy working under him as the engineer, the design engineer, is from ExxonMobil. He has personally been involved in the design and construction of 80 million tons of liquefaction capacity in the world. Nobody on the planet comes close to having that kind of expertise. Do these companies really have these people assigned to this work for nothing?
And spending that kind of money?
Oh my gosh. No.
It's such clear evidence that, like you say, it's not a guarantee, because there may be something we'll run into in the future that would say, oh, this isn't a good idea. But obviously the producers have decided this is worth our while at this point to move forward, and we're going to commit a lot of cash to it.
That's right.
Can Bill Walker guarantee that there's going to be a line? Reasonably? Responsibly?
Not without putting substantial state assets at risk.
So if he could say, well, I'm going to take $30 billion out of the permanent fund, and I will guarantee you there will be a line. I mean, what would it take for him to essentially, because that's kind of the sense that I get from most people who are supporting Bill Walker is he's given us a guarantee. It's, with a big G.
Well, sure. As governor, if you're the governor, you have the ability to fire all of the board members at the Permanent Fund Corporation the moment you're in office and put on there the people you want to do what you want. Those board members are not subject to legislative confirmation, except for the commissioners.
Now, I also was told that Exxon spent a lot of money down on the peninsula to build. What is that about?
So down on the Kenai Peninsula and the Nikiski area, the project is already buying land for the liquefaction
We're talking about
plant.
Significant cash here being spent.
Exactly how much, how many acres.
So why would Exxon be buying land if they weren't serious about this?
Alaska has a long history with these companies.
Yeah.
It's a partnership. It's kind of like a marriage at this point. We've been married a long time to these folks. We know what their farts smell like.
I'll bet that's the first time
wow.
a DNR commissioner has ever said
that is an
the word
Alaskan
fart on radio.
Type of a of a picture there.
All right, so we go through the process with the engineers. What's the next step?
We need to develop contracts associated with the legislation that the legislature passed this year.
Okay, we come to an agreement.
Those contracts need to be approved by the legislature.
Right. When's the soonest we might see that?
The fall of 2015.
Okay. Then what's the next step?
The formal vote to go from pre-feed into feed, and that's the $2 billion decision. For Alaska, that'll be a $500 million decision.
Okay.
That will begin the NEPA process. And
NEPA is?
The National Environmental Policy Act. It's the federal permitting system.
Which is very important that we have the right president in place at that point.
Well, look, recently we had a whole team go and meet with federal agencies and the White House. And our Alaska office, Kip Knutson, was part of that trip. And they heard from the White House staff directly, we like Alaska LNG. What can we do to make sure they get the permits they need on time? And I guarantee you that was the first time Kip Knutson heard that from this administration on a project in Alaska.
Wow, that's great. So we get the permits, then what? We build?
If the permits are all in hand and all of the LNG has been signed up for sale, not
Yeah.
all of it, but enough of it,
Yeah.
then it's a final investment decision, and that's when the equipment gets ordered. That's when the construction activity begins.
What's the earliest
2018?
we could see construction?
2018 would be final investment decision, late 2018.
So
Construction
shovel-
beginning that next year in 2019.
Okay. Well, that's pretty encouraging.
That seems like a long time away.
Well, I mean,
Is it
you're
because
look-
of all the environmental impact statements and all that kind of stuff?
That's a huge part of it.
I mean, my goodness.
If you're going to spend $50 billion, do you want to be sure that you've designed everything properly, that you've got all of the right kind of equipment staged to come into Alaska, to be delivered to Alaska, and constructed on time?
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
We're talking to DNR
Right.
Commissioner Joe Bailash. Real quick, we're told that the revenue generated from a gas pipeline will never be equivalent to that generated from an oil pipeline. There's not as much room there. Is that true? We're not going to see a boom to the degree we have with the oil pipeline.
It is true that gas is not as profitable as oil. However, the revenues associated with the AKLNG project that we've analyzed would show substantial cash flow for
What
the
kind of
state
money
Alaska.
we talking
We're
about?
talking $3-4 billion a year.
Yeah, that's real money. Most states would not frown at that.
I won't.
Well,
Yeah.
and it'll help the people of Alaska too who live here and
Right.
and use that. My brother's in Fairbanks and he pays I think $1,000 a month for heating oil.
So
doesn't
many
surprise
reasons
me.
to be optimistic. When this pipeline goes online, we've got offshore, and more someday will be open, I'm confident. It's just so many reasons to be optimistic about the state of Alaska. We'll continue our conversation with Joe Bailash, DNR Commissioner, Department of Natural Resources, on Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie, KVNT, KOAN in Anchorage. Our time, 8:44. NT, KOAN in Anchorage. Our time, 8:44.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Give them a call. 569-1080. KOAN.
There's a lot of so-called experts out there claiming to have the key to success in business for a price. Are you ready for real business advice you can trust without a fee? Then don't miss Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Advice from people in the know. Technology, finance, taxes, and more. Business people helping business people take their skills and services to the next level. Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. on Hot Talk, KOAN, 95.1 FM and 1080 a.m.
Mark Begich has voted with Barack Obama 97% of the time. Now, to distract you from the truth, Begich is falsely attacking Dan Sullivan with ads fact checkers have called inflammatory and inaccurate. Shamefully, Begich has even resorted to attacking Dan Sullivan's service to our country. Mark Begich isn't true Alaska. He's pure Washington.
I'm Julie Fate Sullivan. After 9/11, my family left our home in Alaska so my husband, Dan Sullivan, could defend our country, first in the White House under Condoleezza Rice, then deploying overseas as a U.S. Marine. Now Mark Begich is attacking Dan for that service. As somebody whose family has been in Alaska for thousands of years, I have a message from Mark Begich. Alaskans respect military service. We don't attack it.
I'm Dan Sullivan. I'm running for the U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sullivan for U.S. Senate.
Anchorage Fracture and Orthopedic Clinic has provided exceptional sports medicine care to Alaska athletes since 1969. As the official orthopedic providers for UAA Hockey and the Alaska Football League, we continue to keep athletes and their fans in the game. Our doctors provide the most comprehensive bone, joint, and muscle care for all areas of the body. Learn more at www.afoc.com. Anchorage Fracture and Orthopedic Clinic, the strength of experience.
Hot Talk, KOAN, man.
And Biegel. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the...
8:47. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron here on Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie on KOAN, KVNT. Our good friend Keith Montauk. Wasn't he fun yesterday?
Mm-hmm, he's great.
Such a great guy. He's the owner and operator of Specialty Truck and Auto, the best mechanic shop in town. I've had my car in Keith's shop. I don't know how many times he's through the years always treated me right. His team, they're really good. And when it comes to auto repair these days, you got to be up on your game because it's changing so much and cars are so computerized. And Keith and his team, they've got the very latest in technology when it comes to working on vehicles. Go see Keith Montauk, Specialty Truck and Auto. He's a huge supporter of our veterans. He puts on the combat fishing tournament every year, taking veterans out and fishing for halibut and other such fish. Keith Montauk, Specialty Truck and Auto, 349-1637. 349-1637. He's located right across the street from the Long Branch Saloon off of Abbott. We're talking to Department of Natural Resources Commissioner Joe Baylash. And Commissioner, Bonnie has a question for you about fish, and I think Glenn was asking about timber, but I just want to reiterate my belief, and what really keeps me going. We are so close. We are so close in Alaska to unprecedented prosperity. And we've had some really good times. This is a state that has an amazing past 40, 50 years, right? It's been exciting. It's been wonderful. But when you look at the gas line, you look at offshore, you look at timber, you look at mining, we get the right president and the right Senate, you look at ANWR, we look at the NPRA, it's just coal. If we get the
not only for this gas project, but in the upstream for oil production, for offshore development, for mining activity in this state, then we're not going to have a financial future. And what we're doing right now in terms of providing public services is going to come to an end.
Yes.
It's going to be shocking how different life will be in 5 years if we don't keep this momentum going.
We've got to have the Senate pro-Alaska. It's not now with the party that's in control. We've got to get a governor who's going to cooperate with the private sector, not go to war with them. You agree?
That's my opinion, yes.
Yes.
So I am a fisher woman, and I was born and raised in Alaska. I've been fishing since I was really little.
Commercial or sport?
Sport.
All right.
And we mainly fish over on the Kenai River, which is being shut down more and more, it seems, every year by the regrowth for the grasses and, you know, the bank restoration. Everywhere you go now, there's a walkway that you can't get off of or you'll be fined. And it's making me angry. I am, here I go again, anger. But no, when you're trying to go to a place and show your kids where you fished when you were younger and you know it's a good spot, and you're not allowed to get off the walkway. But yet then I went to, you know, that's all fine and everything. Let's grow the grass that's going to die in a few months anyway. My question is, what I found interesting over on a place called Big Eddy off the Kenai River in, I guess it was Kenai, Soldotna. It's in Soldotna.
Yep.
They have a nice restroom. There's a nice walkway. There's a dock for the guide and outfitters. So what I see there is we're catering to the people who can bring in more money and not the people who actually live here and want to, you know, subsistence fish. Because there's not even a place for me to get off and fish there. It's all, you have to get off the dock. It's dangerous. It's deep. My kids can't fish there. They could if there was a little walkway. What, is this going to keep up? Or, you know, can we just tear down these walls? Because that's what I feel like doing.
Sure. So, you know, the Kenai is a spectacular system for raising salmon, the life cycle with the lakes and the ability to produce the species that run there. the habitat necessary to support the spawning cycle is critical to ensuring those species continue to run in that river. And I would point out that we've had 50 years, more than 50 years, we're coming up on 60 years now, of oil and gas production in Cook Inlet. And we've got all 5 species of salmon that have been running there, thriving there for 50 years. We know how to do things right here, but as the Kenai has grown in popularity and the demand has put tremendous pressure on, there have been steps needed to be taken to preserve, protect that habitat. What you're talking about is access for the public.
Right.
And that's actually something that my department is quite interested in ensuring that the public has more opportunity, more facilities to use and access the river, not just the Kenai, but all across the state.
I mean, it's a huge state. That we should not have limited access to a huge river.
Right, and so there's different parts of the river that we have work underway right now. One is down at Eagle Rock, so that's in the lower river. Another is up at Bing's Landing, which is in the middle.
Yep.
And we're steadily working through each of those steps and facilities to make sure that the public has opportunity. But the line we have to walk, and we're very careful to walk, is to not compete with the private sector, because there are a number of businesses that are set up along the river who charge a fee. And so trying to provide a public service without necessarily...
Right, because the river is a public river.
It absolutely is.
It's under the state constitution that we're allowed to get there to that river.
Yep.
And so when you're told, well, if you walk through these grasses, you're going to be fined $300, and there's, DNR people, there trying to catch you doing that, it's very frustrating as somebody who's just trying to get a few fish for the year.
Right. Well, and
I see the boats going up and down that river and making waves after waves, and I feel like they're doing more damage to the bank than any of us could do.
There's so many users in the river and so many ways of using the river that trying to manage all of that can be very difficult, especially since you've got state management, local management, and federal management all trying to fit together and work together to come up with rules that work throughout the system.
And I know it's getting to where you're afraid to do anything for fear that you might be fined. I mean, my 72-year-old father couldn't even lean up against the bank. The guy came by and told him to get off the bank. My 8-year-old daughter wasn't able to sit on the bank because she might ruin the grasses. I mean, it's getting ridiculous, and it's just stuff like that makes you say, forget it, I guess I just won't go fishing anymore. And some of us wonder if that's what the purpose is.
Certainly not the policy direction given by this administration, and that description sounds at odds with some of the things I understand about how we work in river to accommodate public and public access. So
yeah. I was just excited to have you sitting here because I could actually ask you directly.
Yeah.
Hey.
Joe Belash, he is DNR commissioner in studio with us with the Parnell administration. The feds did something with subsistence in western Alaska. Is there a change in the relationship between the state and the federal government and subsistence rights and subsistence users or not? And if there is, what is it?
Boy, that's one that's getting a little bit out of my expertise, just because that's stuff that's normally handled by Department of Fish and Game. So I'm not sure exactly.
Outside of your department altogether, what about timber down in southeast? I mean, there was a piece in the paper today. State seeks to join Forest Service legal defense in a big southeast timber sale. The whole piece was sort of negative toward the administration. Is this just the default? It seems like you guys are doing the right thing, taking up Alaska's case, trying to get a timber sale to go forward. Greenpeace or whoever the Center for Biological Diversity is up against us. They never actually identify them, I don't think, in the piece, who started the lawsuits. But then the whole piece turns into, by Pat Forgy, just a negative review from somebody who wanted to comment negatively about the Parnell administration.
Yeah, that story in particular is framed up in a way that's just perplexing to me, because here we are, we're at odds with the Obama administration, the federal government, on a whole host of issues. But in this case, we're talking about the U.S. Forest Service, part of the Obama administration, and we are moving to help defend their decisions on a lease sale or a timber sale. And so here we are taking up arms with the federal government in this instance to defend this decision, and we're somehow being attacked.
They find the one person who says, well, the defense you're giving is not the one that I want, even though it's the only legal recourse that we have.
It's just perplexing.
Well, does Pat not understand the issue very well, do you think? Or, I mean,
I think there's a hate issue there.
Oh, really? I guess you find that quite a bit. That's unfortunate, by the way, because it prevents us from figuring out exactly what's going on.
Keep up the good work, Joe. Commissioner, we appreciate
Thank
you
guys.
coming by. Thanks so much.
Let me know if I can come back.
We'd love to have you back. Joe Bailash, Commissioner of the Department of Natural Resources, in the studio with us today. Have a great Wednesday. We'll be back tomorrow. I believe we have the governor on tomorrow. Is today Wednesday?
Yeah.
I think the governor's on tomorrow. 8:58 is the time. Have a great Wednesday, folks. See you then. 8:50.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for tuning in to Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Be sure to catch them every weekday morning from 6 to 9 a.m. on Hot Talk KOAN 95.1 FM, 1080 a.m. and online at 1080koan.com.
Hi, this is Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company. Sellers, if you are going to sell your home, now may very well be